Dr. Seuss says, we are all a little weird. And when we find someone whose weirdness is compatible with ours, we join up with them and fall in mutual weirdness. We also call it love. A bit over 13 years ago, after both of us were coming off of our second marriages, Sherry and I, believe it or not, went through an online dating service. We started dating, remaining together for the next 5 years or so, talking of marriage now and then, despite my repeated saboteur attempts of the relationship. I became committophobic. You won't find it in the dictionary either. I became fearful of making any commitment to either her or, frankly, anybody else. I mean, after all, I had 2 failed previous marriages. I had the Catholic Church approve 2 religious annulments. Let me tell you, that's quite unusual in itself. So I was quite afraid of failing again. I mean, literally, I was afraid. Would the 3rd time be charm? Or, like the statistics had indicated, strike free. Sherry, however, never gave up on me. Sherry did give up a lot for me. Knowing that I was a cradle Catholic, that I would never leave my church, at that time 47 years, now almost 60, and she converted to Catholicism, so that we would be able to have one religion together. Sherry also moved to Bradenton. She wasn't going to find that anyway, I'm sure. So that I could be closer to my young son. She didn't have to, but she did. I don't know if it was time, if she wore me down, or maybe I finally realized that this was a love that would last. So just shy of 7 years ago, in this very church and in front of this very altar, Sherry and I became husband and wife. It became the best, very best relationship that I had ever been in. And frankly, I think it was the best for both of us. It may not have been as conventional as either my parents or her parents. We weren't exactly the Ozzy and Harriet Nelsons. We weren't exactly, the typical Dr. and Mrs. Huxley. But it worked. And it worked well for us. On our first Christmas together, I bought her a copy of the book, The Prophet by Khalil Gibran. And here's some lines on it, from it rather, on love and marriage. Love gives not but itself, and takes not but from itself. Love possesses not, nor would it be possessed. For love is sufficient unto love. When you love, you should not say, God is in my heart, but rather, I am in the heart of God. And think not that you can direct the course of love, for love, if it finds you worthy, directs your course. Love has no other desire but to fulfill itself. Love one another, but make not a bond of love. Let it rather be a moving sea between the shores of your souls. Fill each other's cup, but drink not from one cup. Give one another of your bread, but eat not from the same loaf. Sing and dance together and be joyous, but let each of you be alone. Even as the strings of a lute are alone, though they quiver with the same music. Give your hearts, but not into each other's keeping. For only the hand of life can contain your hearts. And stand together, but not too near together. For the pillars of the temple stand apart, and the oak tree and the cypress tree grow not in each other's shadow. Sherry touched my life in many of the same ways she touched yours. There was always a willing to give the shirt off her back for you, and as we all know, she often did. We could make each other laugh, and whether good or bad, sometimes make each other cry. Her compassion for others was immeasurable, always willing to help others, even at risk to herself. She had tremendous courage, inner strength, and faith. And she faced this ugly monster called glioblastoma multiforme level 4 brain cancer with all of her might. She had an obvious love for life itself. And I think that her positive attitude in dealing with this disease was one of the primary reasons she lived as long as she did after the initial diagnosis. Think about it. It must have been very hard for Sherry, as a single mother with 2 daughters, to return to school while working full-time to become a certified legal assistant or paralegal. And she became very successful and respected in her line of work. And in a few moments, you will hear from her boss of 20 years, Bill Moore, who I'm sure will go a little bit more on that. Even harder, I assume, was the knowledge, extreme frustration, and the pain of losing your memory. Knowing how you used to be. I don't know how she did it. Sherry and I prepared this memorial service pretty much together. She chose the music, we were the participants, and I chose the readings that I felt represented the very best of Sherry. And as you listen to the readings, I hope that you will see Sherry in the readings chosen. Sherry was a tremendous, exciting, compassionate, considerate, and loving daughter, sister, mother, stepmother, grandmother, cousin, aunt, friend, co-worker, companion, lover, and spouse. I am a much better person for having known and having been with her, even though I loved her for such a short period of time as 13 years. My only hope now is that I was worthy of her. I will miss my love all my remaining days. Always continue to be an inspiration to all persons who meet. It's the fruit of the seed you planted. Remember that there are only 2 days in our lives that we can't do anything about. One is yesterday. It's already gone. The other is tomorrow, which is uncertain and might not even come at all. We can only live in today. So work. Be a blessing to others. Share the love of God. And let God's will be done in your life, just as it was in Sherry's.